This is Scrum in under 5 minutes. Here we go. Have you ever been involved in a project that started out great at first? You put a plan together, a set of milestones with delivery dates, you put a team together, but then through working on it, you found that unexpected complications happened, things changed, and all of a sudden, you weren't meeting your deadlines, everybody was getting stressed, everything was going over budget. You find out later on that either the requirements weren't quite right or the customer wanted something different. You deliver your project, it's not exactly the revolutionary project that you expected, and everybody gets demotivated from the end result. This eventuality, unfortunately, is all too common, but Scrum is here to help us mitigate against all of that. Scrum is all about iterative development, so instead of trying to plan everything from day one right through to the very end, Scrum focuses on getting something out there quickly. Because, as we know from experience, unfortunately things don't always work out exactly to plan. This is why Scrum is based on iterative development. We do short sprints to create an iteration and to work on it step by step, gathering feedback as we go and adjusting our plan to improve the product bit by bit, sprint by sprint, increment by increment. Another key aspect of Scrum is that it wants component teams. What this means is it breaks down silos. It takes people from different areas and puts them together into one team of 10 people or fewer to work on the product and have really good communication between them all because they're all working in the same team towards the same product, towards the same goals. The team should have all the skills necessary in order to create the product. Speaking of the team, we have the product owner. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product. The product owner manages the product backlog, which is the backlog of work that needs to go into making that product more valuable. There is the Scrum Master, and the Scrum Master is there to help coach the team to work better in the Scrum framework, to remove impediments to progress, and to help the organization use and embed Scrum and Agile. And there are, of course, the developers. The developers are the ones who actually do the work to create the product and its increments. Now, let's be honest, how often do you actually do lessons learned in projects? And how often do you actually gather feedback from your customers? Well, in Scrum, we do this all the time. It's built into the framework. At the end of every sprint, there will be a review, and this is a chance for all the stakeholders to have a look at the work that was done in the sprint, to take a look at the latest increment, review it, and think about what the next goals are going to be in the next sprint. After releasing an increment or multiple increments in the sprint, you get the opportunity to actually see what the customers and users think of it. And this information is going to feed into your review session and for your sprint planning session, so you know what to build for the next increment in the next sprint. And at the very end, there is also a lessons learned meeting. Now, this is called the Sprint Retrospective. It's a chance for the Scrum team to get together and discuss process improvements and quality. So, as you can see, using the Scrum framework, there are plenty of opportunities for inspection and adaptation, both with the actual product that is created and its increments and the work process itself. You're not going to get all of this right first time, but you will improve step by step, bit by bit. Okay, I've also mentioned the sprint planning session a couple of times there. This is at the start of the sprint, and it's when the team get together to plan out what they're going to do in the sprint. They will set a sprint goal and they will pick some work from the work backlog, also known as the product backlog, for them to complete in the next sprint. This smaller backlog of work is also known as the sprint backlog. If you've seen a board with 3 columns, to do, in progress, done, this is the sprint backlog, and work will be moved from the sprint backlog from the to-do pile into in progress and finally done. When the work is done and the increment is finished and it meets its quality criteria as set out in the definition of done, then the increment is born and it can be released. Once it is released, it's important to keep monitoring it for real-world user feedback. One other thing to note is that the developers will get together every single day for a 15-minute discussion called the Daily Scrum. It's in this discussion that they will have a look at progress and see if they're still on track to meet the sprint's goal. If you want to learn more about Scrum and become certified as a Scrum Master and Product Owner, see my bestseller courses, link in the description below.